Welcome to Friday Fish Facts. I'm your host, Ron DeSantis. Today I'm going to show you how to clean your FX6 filter. Step 1. Unplug it. Step 2, we need to close the valves on the outtake and the intake. Just like that. Step 3 is to attach the hose to the drain valve here. Now since I bought this FX6 secondhand, it didn't come with that hose, so I've got to improvise here. I've removed the cap here like this, and I would attach a hose if I had one. Even once I open that drain, nothing's going to come out until I take off the outtake. I have removed the cap on the end, and I would normally attach a hose here, but since I don't have one, I've got my bucket in place. I open this. Just like that, so it's ready to start draining. It won't start draining until I've removed the outtake. That one right there. Once I remove that one, the valve will start draining. Now before I remove the outtake, I'm going to put a towel down here because this part can get messy. Okay, I finished emptying out the canister, and I am going to keep all the water that I've taken out of it. And the reason for that is when I clean the sponge and the media, I'm going to use the old tank water. That's because I don't want fresh tap water killing the beneficial bacteria that I've got in my filter, which that will happen if I just use water straight out of the tap untreated. So I'm going to use that to clean the sponges, so don't throw that water away. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook the intake on the other side of the canister. Okay, we've got the empty canister upstairs in the bathtub, and we've got our canister of water right beside it because we're going to clean the media from that. Another thing we always do after if we have to use the bathtub, is we disinfect it just in case there's something transmitted from fish bacteria to human, which I don't know if there is, but better safe than sorry. Next, I've got to take all these tabs off. So they just unscrew like that and swing down like that. And I'm going to do that for all the tabs. Okay, now that I've got them all off, I'm going to take the top off, which is not as easy to do with one hand, but still doable. Then I'm going to lift this entire thing out all at once, which I might not be able to do with one hand, but we'll try. Oh, I see I've got some cucumber seeds in there on the top, and I may have to put the camera down while I pull it out. Okay, now that I've got it out, I'm going to flip these red tabs down, and then that's going to allow these trays to come apart. Next, we take the sponges out and put it in our old water, and we just rinse it out. So this filter's been running for 2 months, and it is not very dirty at all. The ceramic in the top looks pretty clean. I'm still going to give it a rinse out in this stuff here. And I'm gonna take out every sponge and give it a soak before I put it back in. Okay, when I put this thing back together here, you can see the water's quite a bit dirtier now that I've squeezed off all the sponges. The first wheel there has got the ceramic round cylinders in it, as well as the wheels in there. The second one has just ceramic cylinders, and then the top one, I just use extra foam on there because I don't put carbon in my filters, which could be another idea for a video another time. Okay, I've got my red plastic pieces that have attached the media all back together, and I'm going to pick it up and drop it back in my canister, which I can't do with one hand, so I'll have to put the camera back down for that. So I need to add at least 2 gallons of water into the canister before I can turn it on again. I've got some more fish tank water here that I've scooped out of the top of the tank. I'm going to be adding it into the canister. Before I add it into the canister, I want to make sure that I've got the valve closed on the bottom, which right now it's open. I'm going to turn this closed like this. Now we're in the closed position. I've got my plug here. The plug goes on just like that. Now I want to tighten the plug. So I've got this is threaded. Just like that. Plug is back on. Now I'm going to add my water. Into the filter. And like I said before, make sure you put at least 2 gallons in. Okay, I've got the water in. I put the lid back on. Make sure you're lined up. Clamp these all back on. Now, you can wreck your filter in this stage here. By over tightening these, you can wreck the O-ring and cause a leak, which means you'd have to replace your O-ring. So as you're tightening them, I finger tighten and then I go across to the other side. Finger tighten, back to the other side. Finger tighten, and so forth until I'm done. Okay, now I'm going to reattach the outtake and intake, so I got to push the red button in. Like that, and it's on. I can't pull it off. It's on. Don't open it yet, but it's on. I'm gonna do the intake, same process. Push it on. Now there was a little click that I felt there, so I know that it's on. When I give it a tug straight up, I know that it's on. The next step I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna turn these valves back on. The intake and the outtake. Now I do the outtake first, intake second. That's the sound of the air escaping. Now once this has died down, I'm going to plug in the filter. Now the filter is going to run for 1 minute. Then it's going to shut off, and it's going to do that same process where it lets all the air out. This is the stage where you'll know if you've tightened these top pieces all around here hard enough. Because after that 1 minute, when this filter turns back on, you're gonna get water leaking everywhere. And if you do, don't panic, unplug it, tighten these back up, try it again, and it should be fine then. You'll notice the air bubbles coming off. So the filter runs for 1 minute, then it shuts itself off. After that, during that minute that it's off, it's letting all the air out. And this is the crucial point. Once this thing turns back on, if there's water leaking by the canister, and I need to pull the plug right away, which means I haven't tightened the top enough. I like to err on the side of not tight enough because I don't want to ruin my O-ring. Sure, cleaning the FX6 filter, canister, or any canister filter is more work than cleaning a hang-on back filter. But you only need to clean this thing every 2 months. That's 6 times a year for a much better, in my opinion, filter. Join me next week for another edition of Friday Fish Facts.
I hope you're cleaning that bathtub.
I'm cleaning it!